Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Drama Therapy as Performance. These are live demonstrations of drama therapy. There's a very long history of using theater, drama, and performance to facilitate transcendence, empathy, insight, and perspective and recovery. And in drama therapy, the drama therapy is the systematic and intentional use of theater-based processes like improvisation and storytelling and role play and performance to facilitate health and well-being. So the tools are rooted in theater, but the goals are in psychotherapy. In this particular demonstration, for the next 3 evenings, in fact, we're going to be focusing on role theory and role method in drama therapy, which is the foundational theory that arises out of the work of Robert Landy, who is the founder of the drama therapy program here at NYU. And in order to introduce that work, it is my very great pleasure to introduce a woman who has worked alongside of Robert for 26 years, a fellow faculty member here in the NYU program, Maria Hodermarska.
I want to thank you, Nisha, for this incredible party of these next few days. And this is a dream come true for the community here in New York and for the profession. And I just can't thank you enough for this opportunity for all of us, on behalf of all of us, so thank you. Tonight, we will be witnessing the drama therapy work of Laura Wood and her approach to recovery from eating disorders through the CoActive Therapeutic Theater model. According to the National Institutes of Mental Health, eating disorders have the highest mortality rate of any mental health disorder. But the treatment gap between acute care and long-term recovery remains wide and rather empty. Dr. Wood's innovative work with therapeutic theater intends to fill that gap. This gap in care underscores not only the biases present in healthcare in the United States, assumptions, for example, that eating disorders are an exclusively white, cis female healthcare issue that can be overcome by willpower, but the gap in care also underscores the attitudes in medicine, often the lack of empathy with which people living with eating disorders are seen. As we will see in her presentation, Dr. Wood's approach to drama therapy and recovery employs a number of core principles and practices of Robert Landy's seminal writings in role theory and method in drama therapy. Role can be defined as a universal form that holds thought, feeling, and action expressed by the human actor in behavior. Everyone is familiar with the term role in theater, as actors take on and play out aesthetic roles. In drama therapy, we also view role from a social science perspective, as human beings take on and play out psychological and social roles. Role theory emerged in sociology and social psychology in the last century, due in no small part to the theories and practice of J.L. Moreno, the father of both drama therapy and psychodrama. Understanding self as a series of socially constructed roles that perform in everyday life is foundational to role theory. Moreno considered role as the actual and tangible forms which the self takes in the specific moment or situation when interacting with others or objects. According to Moreno, the symbolic representation of this functioning form, perceived by the individual and others, is called role. Role theory understood roles in the societal and psychological spaces of life But for Moreno, there was a third space in which an understanding of role could be of use. That was in therapeutic spaces. After the Second World War, the rejection of the moral absolutism of the scientific method and the rejection of the absolutist politics of nationalism and fascism gave rise to a new philosophy of postmodernism, the philosophy in which there was never any single truth or single way. Without a single truth, there was suddenly the possibility that there was no single self or core self. In the book, Persona and Performance, Landy embraced this postmodern perspective and argued that the concept of a centralized self is outmoded, superseded by a decentralized universe of roles that form a personal and societal theatricum mundi. I think of the person as the body, onto or in which the many projections and identifications and erasures of social construction function. We are each of us a theater. Roles are the basic elements of relationship and relating, child to caregiver, victim to perpetrator, believer to a God. One may not exist without the other, and each role has a corresponding counter role. For Landy, these roles exist in a taxonomy or system of archetypal roles that function somatically, cognitively, affectively, socially, spiritually, and aesthetically. The roles we play in life are determined by our individual stories. Writer and educator John Gardner wrote that there are essentially two universal narratives. A person goes on an adventure and a stranger comes to town. Role theory and method in drama therapy focuses on the former, that the therapeutic journey is best understood through the narrative structure of a hero's journey. A hero goes on a journey toward a destination, confronts or avoids an obstacle with the help of a guide. Every journey taken implies one not taken. It is important to remember, however, especially in the face of trauma, that not every life journey is a hero's journey. We acknowledge that it is a disservice to a person who suffered severe interpersonal trauma or intergenerational trauma to view experience of harm as heroic or ennobling. But the therapeutic journey, we hope, with all its complexities, intersections, and challenges, can feel heroic to the resilient adventurer. Telling one's story has always been and continues to be an essential part of any recovery process. And the storytelling I refer to here in this moment is the truth-telling about one's lived experience. In long-term recovery, it often occurs in a room of people who have endured similar experiences. Recovery is a process of change that is an end in and of itself. Recovery is a dramatic state of ambivalence and paradox, where two truths are co-occurring: the desire to get better and the dark call of the illness. In drama therapy, this ambivalent state is a desired state we call a discrepant awareness. These co-occurring truths exist between the factual and the counterfactual, between the real and the imagined, between the human actor and the roles played. In role theory and method, the goal is not to resolve dissonance or conflict, but to live in it. We see health and well-being as a capacity to operate in and from a state of conflict between multiple roles in which we can tolerate the imbalance of our being and the world and learn to live with our contradictory tendencies, affinities, and desires. To operate in life like an actor performing a role on a stage, to be and not to be at the same time. Rigorous honesty is a core concept of 12-step recovery. And while I'm not going to enter into a discussion about any parallels between addictions and eating disorders, I want to draw some connections with the recovery process in general. In active addiction or eating disorders, the truth is often elusive or too encrusted with shame to be spoken easily. In the theater, it's the lie of the dramatic action that reveals the truth. In recovery from a 12-step perspective, it's not just a rigorous honesty, but also a capacity to act as if, to pretend. That's elemental. All I need to do today is act as if I'm sober. And if I get through my day pretending to be sober, I will not pick up a drug. I don't have to want recovery or even believe in it today. I just need to pretend it or perform it. I just need to play the role well enough. It is in this implicit notion of the double life, to be and not, that Landy refers to. That is a profoundly useful tool of recovery. So from the perspective of role method, there are, as Landy wrote, no false selves or false roles, but all roles are real and playable. I can, therefore, enroll in my destination, my recovery, before my arrival there, permitting me, a human actor struggling to get well, what former US President Barack Obama might call the audacity of hope. Recovery processes are well suited to role theory and method. Recovery is a state of ambivalence, a dramatic, paradoxical hall of mirrors in which the admission of powerlessness over the illness is the first step in reclaiming a life, in which the act of pretending is elemental to a process dependent upon honesty and integrity, and in which the role of the addicted one, or the anorectic one, for example, is a role in a personal taxonomy of roles generally claimed when the person is in recovery, not when they're active in their disease. Furthermore, eating disorders can be seen through the lens of role theory and method as diseases of relationship, in which we understand the primary relationship is to the disordered behavior and a locked and limited system of roles that grow up around it. Recovery, from a role perspective, is about capacitating the person to tolerate being in relationship to self and to other humans with an expanded system of roles. CoActive Therapeutic Theater aims to create a replicable model of therapeutic theater to support individuals in different forms of recovery. This model, developed by Dr. Wood in collaboration with drama therapist David Mowers, serves as a stepping stone from higher levels of care toward independent long-term recovery and reconnection with the community. It's been used by people in recovery from eating disorders, addictions, and stroke or traumatic brain injury. One of the manualized exercises in Wood's model uses the concept of recovery as a role in one's taxonomy, a role that wherever we may find ourselves on a recovery continuum might always benefit from being strengthened. When meeting with a group for the first time, Wood and her team use role theory and method to ask individuals to enroll as their recovery. Mutual relating and storytelling, engaging the imagination with the ability to act as if are the interpersonal and intrapersonal medicines of recovery. Dialogues in role theory and method, according to Landy, happen intrapsychically, interpersonally, and transpersonally. When in dialogue, role players agree to accept the presence of multiplicities of self and other. This is the essence of health and well-being, both from the perspective of role theory and method and in recovery practice. It's where the theory and the recovery meet. We want to thank our colleagues drama therapists Danny Bryant, Courtney Dowdell, Francesca Janello, Annie Pardo, and Maya Wilder, who have come tonight with Dr. Wood, who've collaborated with her on this work, and who have agreed to perform what recovery from an eating disorder might look like for us on this stage tonight. These drama therapists will function as actors, who will demonstrate with Dr. Wood the first 3 steps in role theory and method: invoking the role, naming the role, and exploring the role. We will enter this demonstration with the understanding that the introduction and warm-up have already occurred, and the group is moving to the action phase of the session. Thank you.
All right, so I'd like to ask you to begin by just moving around in the space. Whatever you need to do to just begin to transition to being even more fully in your body for right now. You might move your arms, your legs, your torso. I'm going to ask you to now freeze your body. And I'd like for each of you to invite in the role of recovery into your body. Whatever that means for you, not your recovery yesterday, not your recovery tomorrow, your recovery today. And when you have a sense of that in your body, I'd like you to just begin to move in the space as recovery. Your recovery today. And as you're moving, just notice how recovery is doing just being asked to engage in this exercise, and perhaps how that even lands within your body. You might even begin to notice how recovery feels or responds to other roles of recovery in the room. How do the legs move in recovery? How do the arms move in recovery? How does the torso carry itself in recovery? What's the relationship between the head and the body in your recovery today? Now I'd like you to imagine that recovery is feeling tired. How is your recovery when you're tired? Notice where you feel that in your body. Now I'd like you to imagine that recovery feels supported. How does that change the movement or experience in your body? Now I'd like you to come back to just being recovery as it is right now, not how it was 2 minutes ago, but in this moment, how is recovery? And I'm going to ask each of you to imagine that there's a museum of recovery, and in that museum, we've lost all of the plaques to tell us about the statues that are in the Museum of Recovery. So that means however you sculpt your body, that the art goers could look at that sculpture and learn something about your recovery today, right now, in this moment, just by the sculpt that the body is in. So when you feel ready, I'm going to ask you to move your body into whatever that sculpt would be, wherever feels right for recovery in the museum, here and now. And we will be holding these positions for a little bit, so also part of recovery is that we can let our body rest and relax when we need to. So if a position in the body feels too taxing or too much, feel free to adjust and come back to it as we work through this. It's a good and important step in recovery that we also learn to respect the body as we're going to be working with it over the next 16 weeks as we create this production. I'm going to now give you a script, and you'll get to fill in the blank. So the first line of the script is, "My name is Recovery, and what I want more than anything is." You can say your name, Recovery, so Laura's Recovery, or you can also give yourself a different name of Recovery, whatever feels right for you. Okay, so just take a minute. And I'll come around, and when I tap you, you'll fill in that line. My name is Recovery, and what I want more than anything is.
My name is Recovery, and what I want more than anything is patience and more self-compassion.
Patience and more self-compassion.
My name is Recovery, and what I want more than anything is to be listened to and the courage to say what I feel.
Great. The courage to say what you feel and to be listened to.
My name is Recovery, and what I want more than anything is a little support.
A little support. Got it.
My name is Recovery, and what I want more than anything is for Jess to honor the body she already has.
To honor the body that she is in. Great.
My name is Recovery, and I want to be left alone, but I also want to be seen.
You want to be left alone, but you also want to be seen. Great. The next line in the script, you all are doing awesome. Yeah, feel free to just take a moment, shake it. And if the sculpt changes for this next one, that's fine, or if that feels right, continue with it. The next line is, my name is Recovery, and what's blocking me is. If the sculpt changes, that's fine, or if the same one wants to happen again, it can. My name is Recovery, and what's blocking me is.
My name is Recovery, and what's blocking me is the fear of what others will say.
My name is Recovery, and what's blocking me is the image I show everybody.
My name is Recovery, and what is blocking me is deep shame for being in this body.
My name is Recovery, and the thing that's blocking me is the idea that my weight and my worth are the same thing.
My name is Recovery, and what's blocking me is being invisible.
Great. Shake that one off, take a breath, let that go. Again, you can come to the same pose or a new one. The final line in the script is, my name is Recovery, and what or who can help me is. What or who can help me is. When you're ready, go ahead and put that right back in the body. Great.
My name is Recovery, and what can help me is my voice.
My name is Recovery, and what can help me is the rebel.
My name is Recovery, and what can help me is having faith in something bigger than myself.
Great.
My name is Recovery, and what can help me is respecting myself.
Great.
My name is Recovery, and what can help me is forgiveness.
Great. So everybody just take a breath. Let those sculpts go, but hang on to the role of recovery and just take a moment to move your body any way that you need to help yourself begin to transition into our next exercise. So I'm going to ask each of you to grab a chair. We're going to kind of create a semicircle around this chair here in the middle. So, as you all know, we've talked a little bit about it, but we're still getting to know each other, and we're going to be working over these next 16 weeks to create a therapeutic theater production. And the question that we bring to the table, that we're going to be focusing our performance around, is what is a theme of recovery that we want to explore in service of our recovery and to share with an audience, okay? But to get there, we're going to get to know your recovery as it is today a little bit more. And we're going to look for the areas of intersection and difference in your different forms of recovery. So one at a time, I'm going to invite each of you to come up to the chair, and you can take on, if it helps you, you can take on that same pose that you did before. You can put yourself in relationship to the chair, or if your recovery is even changing moment to moment, you can go ahead and put it in your body, whatever that looks like. There's no right or wrong answer. I've done this for a long time. People's recovery can look all kinds of different ways as you go along, okay? So, you'll come up here, you'll take the time that you need, 1 to 2 to 3 to 10 minutes, however much time you feel like recovery is ready to take up. And then, as we're all listening, I'm going to ask you all to put on the role of the compassion and curiosity panel. So after the person's monologue is done, then we're all going to just ask a couple of questions, okay? Now, I'll ask you all to keep an eye out for, because sometimes what happens in this exercise is our eating disorder comes in to ask a question, right? Rather than that place of curiosity and compassion. So we'll all be on the lookout for that, okay? All right, any questions? All right, let's get to know recovery even more. Who would like to go first? Okay.
So I just moved into a new house. Actually, I moved kind of a long time ago. I've just been unpacking this whole time. I've been unpacking my house. It's like every single day there's another box. I just keep finding more boxes. And it's normal. It's normal to find a box like in the basement or something that you forgot about, or I find a box in the closet sometimes, but I'm finding them in my room. And last week I found one in the middle of my kitchen. I don't know how I missed it, but it was right there. So I'm unpacking every damn day. I'm still unpacking. I get home from work and I unpack. Before I leave for work, I'm unpacking. And it's tiring to keep doing it. When I first moved in, I didn't know how to unpack at all. I didn't know how to unpack at all. It got so bad, and they were so piled up. They fell over and pinned me to the ground, and I was stuck there until somebody found me. And so after that, it was actually great, because my parents came over and my friends came over every single day. Everyone was coming over to help me unpack because they knew that I didn't know how to do it yet and that they needed to help me. and they played music and carried my heavy boxes with me and hung up all my photographs and made it look like a home. And they haven't been coming over lately. They haven't come over anymore. Most of the time, people are just asking me to go over to their house and unpack their boxes because I've gotten really good at it from doing it every day. And I do, because I am really good at it, but like, don't you see that I still have boxes in my house? And did you not trip over the one in the kitchen? Like, I have so many boxes still. I know they're not crushing me anymore, but did they have to be for you to care?
Thank you, Recovery. So I'm going to open it up to our curiosity and compassion panel. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions for Recovery? Yeah, Margot.
So I'm kind of wondering, how do you respond when people ask you to help them unpack their boxes?
Usually it's like, sure, how many do you have?
Yeah. Who else has a question for Recovery?
Have you ever thought to ask someone to come help?
I kind of want to, but I've never had to do that before. They just saw how many I had. I feel like they don't think that I would need it anymore. I feel like they'll say no.
Recovery, if you were to get support today with opening a box, what would that look like from this group?
Okay.
Face of dread.
I guess I could just use some help, like pulling it over toward me, because they're all pretty heavy.
So it would look like the group supporting you to just pull out one box to look at.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Recovery. Let that go. Come grab a seat. Awesome. How was it since you were the first brave one to go in the group?
It's not so bad.
You guys are like, what did I sign up for?
I kind of got into it after a little while.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next brave Recovery, or even not brave Recovery. Go. All right. All right, so go ahead and take your pose.
I'm Julie's Recovery. And I like this saying, the only way out is through. And you know, I've learned a lot about wise mind and taking deep belly breaths and sitting in the discomfort. And I have a lot of discomfort.
Yeah.
Julie has a lot of discomfort.
Yeah.
She has a lot of big feelings, and she has, she's uncomfortable with fullness, and she's uncomfortable with her body, sorry, so wise mind, belly breath.
You're doing great, Recovery.
I just want to be fucking comfortable. I want to be fucking comfortable in my clothes and in this really small fucking stupid chair. And I want to be comfortable on the bus and on the subway. And I want to be comfortable in booths at restaurants. And it's really not fair. And I know that I'm the fattest one here. And I know you try and you think that you understand, but you don't. I'm sorry.
No need to apologize.
Wise mind, belly breath. And it's, it's very uncomfortable. Julie has to sit in the discomfort and to remember, his words and remember the memories and wise mind, belly breath, wise mind, belly breath, wise mind, belly breath. Whew, I'm sorry.
No need to
Sorry.
apologize, Recovery. You're doing great.
Oh, no, yeah, okay. Wise mind, belly breath. Yeah, I'm getting better at sitting in the discomfort.
It's really clear.
Yeah.
Can we ask you some questions?
Sure.
All right.
I'm sorry if that, I'm sorry.
So I'll ask the first question. Recovery, I hear the desire to apologize a lot to the group.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I just don't want to be too much, you know? I know I'm too much sometimes.
And what if this were a space that would say that your too much is just enough? And that we can really make space for you?
That would be different. I don't know if I believe that that's possible.
Fair
but
enough. I think you named it really well. We don't live in a world that makes space for large bodies. So I really acknowledge the hurt around that. And I'm curious if there's one way that you would begin to know that we really meant that. How would you know? What would it look like in action?
I don't know if you have to do anything. I think it's just about me trusting you. Just takes some time.
And how do you know when you start to trust somebody, Recovery?
I stop apologizing.
Anybody else have a question for Recovery?
I'm just curious what you think would happen if you stopped the wise mind belly breath ritual. What do you think would happen?
I don't know. I might be too much. I might cry sometimes and just like, feels like if I start to cry, I won't stop, or I'll say something I regret, or, I'll be kicked out of the play, and I don't want that. So that helps me, helps Julie stay.
Yeah. One more question for Julie's Recovery.
You said Julie has big feelings, so I was wondering what one of the big feelings is that you would maybe want to say out loud.
Oh, Julie's angry.
Yeah.
She's really, really angry. Rageful.
Julie's Recovery, is there anything else you want us to know?
No.
Okay. Take a breath. We'll take one with you. Okay.
Yeah, because, yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Maybe like this. Okay. I am Recovery, and I am hopeful, but also like very tired. But I'm excited because like I'm real, so I'm going to say some good things. So I have some new favorite things that I could do now. So like when somebody says, like ask me if I want more, I could say like, no, thank you, but actually have it be like, no, thank you, and like mean it, but like not because it has anything to do with my weight, but just because it's like, true. Like I don't want more, and like I know that's good for my mind and my body. And also like sometimes at the end of the day now, I remember everything that I ate, or, I just finished eating and I just feel like normal, I guess, where like I don't have heart palpitations and nausea, which then is like shame and guilt. So those are like very good things. But also, I am recovery, and like I don't look the same every day, but not everybody understands that. And then that's when I really start to like struggle and like rage and get angry because people have questions, and it just makes me feel like I'm not making as much progress as I know that I am making. And it just like brings up like all the stuff. Like when people would say to me, like, you can't say that you have an eating disorder. Like some people have serious eating disorders, and like that's, and just all the stuff that brings. And then I'm like, oh great, so I have that, and like I didn't even get a good eating disorder. Like my sister got a good eating disorder because at least she like lost weight and people notice, and I just haven't. So it just brings up all the stuff, and that's, I think, the thing about recovery that's feeling very hard right now. So, but I'm recovery. So as recovery, I can see now, like I have some skills and some understanding, and so I can see like the food stuff just, it gets mixed up with like the family stuff, and like I don't have enough for my family, I'm not getting what I need, and that, even though that feels devastating sometimes, like that's not the same as food. Like I have enough food, no one's taking my food away, and also now I have people that support me. So like I do have enough, and so I'm just trying to, I'm in recovery, I am an abundance mindset. So I don't need to just like binge, because I can use my skills and like sort of sit with it.
Wow. Thanks, recovery. Can we ask you some questions?
Sure.
All right. Compassion, curiosity panel, things you want to know about Jess's recovery?
I'm wondering if you could tell me more about an abundance mindset.
Yeah, I like that word because it's like, it makes me feel like an abundance, like it's not like I have just even enough, like I have more than I need. And like that's true, luckily, of the stuff, the literal food, and of the support and the love from the people in my life. So I can just remind myself that's actually a true thing that's happening.
I heard you talking about being enough and this idea of being sick enough. Do you feel like you're not sick enough?
There's like a tiny part of me that knows I am, but no. And I'm even thinking as we're sitting here and you're telling me we're going to do this play, like, who's going to come to this play? People are going to be like, what are you recovering from? Like, it's not, like, it's dramatic for me to be here.
Well, I think that's a really good question, and we're going to talk more about it in a minute, but I want to ask you, in that place where you feel that tension about like, well, what are you recovering from? Can you name one thing that feels very real for you? Like, fine, an eating disorder, but what else are you really recovering from?
I guess I'm recovering from like not getting what I need, like feeling starved in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I heard really clearly, that, tell me if I'm getting it, but that you weren't getting what you needed in relationship, but it sounds like what the eating disorder used to give Jess was what she really needed in relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Like
now you're
consistently.
really, yeah, consistently.
Yeah.
That's really important. Do we all hear that word for Jess, consistently? Anything else you want us to know for right now?
I think that's enough.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shake that off, let it go. Good. Who would like to go next? Okay.
On Margot's recovery, and I don't notice that I'm getting better when I'm in groups like this, at least not yet. I only really notice it when I'm with my family because I don't know, I interact differently with them now. At my family's last cookout, my Nana put out the rice, and then my Aunt Regina, she made this whole big scene of like patting her stomach and being like, oh, no carbs for me. I'm down 5 pounds and I'm too happy to quit now. And I actually said something. I said weight loss and happiness are not the same thing. And I mean, I kind of mumbled it, but I would never have said anything like that to her before. And then she gave me this look. And then she looked at my mom. And she was like, you better come get this child. And I get it because old me would never say anything, especially to an elder. Old me was not talking about my bulimia or even food or weight. But I don't know, I'm just feeling done being quiet. So I don't know, things just come out of my mouth now, and I'm happy about it. Like I just you know, my Nana says, you know, eat this food and stop being ungrateful, or my dad says, don't go to therapy and tell them all our business, or my mom, God bless her, when my mom says eating disorders are a white girl thing. I say something now. So when my Aunt Regina talks like weight loss and happiness are the same thing, I'm saying something to her too.
Wow.
For a really long time, I thought me being silent was me being strong, but thinking like that almost killed me. Yeah, no, so I'm trying to live differently now, louder.
Yeah. So Margot, I want to just name one thing, which is that I really want to acknowledge that an eating disorder can affect anyone. And by you being here, help or play self, that really clear. And each of you actually are in your own ways. I also heard you say that living loudly is what's going to help strengthen your recovery. So can you tell us one thing that you, recovery, would want to say loudly?
I'm supposed to be seen and heard.
Say it again.
I'm supposed to be seen and heard.
Yeah, one more time.
I'm supposed to be seen and heard.
Take a breath. How was that recovery?
Hard, but good.
Yeah. Other questions for Margot's recovery?
I want to know how I can speak up when I hear people talking about that diet culture bullshit. I can't. It's like I'm frozen.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I feel like I had like really great advice on that. I'm still kind of mumbling my way through it, and then people go, "What did you say?" And then I say it louder.
Just start with mumbling.
Yeah, start with mumbling.
What's it like that you have another recovery that wants like advice from you? That like you have some wisdom?
I don't feel wise, but that's really cool. Maybe we can mumble together.
Okay.
We can
Cool.
do that.
We'll be doing some mumbling in the play.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, one more question for Margot's recovery.
What's it like to be seen?
The first thing that pops into my head is too much, because I feel like I'm seeing too much. Like I feel like me being black, having dark skin, I feel like I'm seen all the time. But yeah, so I'm trying to get on that hurt part, but yeah, too much.
Margaret's recovery, is there anything else that you want us to know?
Just gonna ask you to listen and let me feel heard.
Yeah. Are we up for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Last but not least.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah. Fair enough. Did others feel that way? Yeah. So I'm hearing that recovery right now might not be the role that's most present.
No.
So let me ask you this. I'll give you two options. You could play the role that you're feeling right now and do a monologue from that place. Or you could try sitting in the chair how you would want to feel right now, as if recovery was more present. Which route would you like to take?
I can sit in the chair.
Yeah, all I'm saying is just sit. You don't even have to do the monologue, but just sitting in the chair is one option. As recovery, how you would want to feel. As if you wanted to do the exercise.
Okay, I'll sit.
Yeah, that's all.
As if I wanted to do it.
Yeah, as if recovery was having a draw to do it, to engage in it.
Could I have people come in a little closer?
Yeah. So, recovery,
Yes.
what are you noticing right now?
My arms are crossed.
Mm-hmm. And if your arms could speak, what would they say?
This really sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, what else would they want us to know?
That I want to be here and I don't want to be here. And that I want to believe what everyone is saying is true, but I don't. Because I know that my eating disorder is home. And doing this and being here is so threatening, because if I lose that, I don't think I know who I am.
And recovery, let me ask you this. Somehow you just did the monologue. How did you just do it?
I just sat in the chair.
Yeah, you just sat in the chair. Could we ask one more question? Is there one more question that somebody would like to ask Clementine's recovery?
I know you didn't want to do it at first, but I'm wondering how you're feeling now.
I actually feel here, which feels good.
I'm really glad you're here. I'm glad all of you are here. I'm part of this crazy journey that we're going to be on for the next 16 weeks. So I'm going to ask you to shake off, let go of that recovery a little bit. Yeah, move it.
Sorry.
So, I'm curious, what were some themes? And, we're going to be talking about this over the next, couple of weeks. We're going to be doing different exercises each week as part of the CoATT model. But just for today, from each of the monologues, what were some themes that we were hearing among the group? And when you think in terms of themes, maybe themes of recovery that this group would want to explore to both strengthen your recovery, as well as something you'd want an audience to better understand about recovery, because we all know eating disorder recovery is deeply misunderstood, right? And each of you spoke to those different ways, right? What are some themes?
Feeling like too much, but also not enough.
Too much and not enough. Great.
Like something about it not being linear and like just a journey.
Great. Recovery is not a linear process. Are you all agreeing? Were you hearing these themes? Yeah?
Yeah. And it's like not a peaceful process or like a beautiful process or a, like.
Yeah.
Fear
Messy.
and shame.
Fear, shame.
It's mostly, I feel like, me getting kind of angry at people, like reacting.
I heard a lot of anger in this.
Yeah.
So we're going to be, each week we'll be talking about these themes until we sort of move towards really what we're going to be creating our play around. But I just want to look at a couple of these. So which ones do we want to look at tonight, just quickly?
I mean, I guess anger.
Yeah, I saw a lot of energy around anger. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. We're going to build a picture of anger. And you'll come on one at a time, kind of quickly, like, don't leave your partners up there. And you'll take on a static pose and a line that you want to say, a spoken line about anger. Whatever that is for you, okay? One line only. And then I'm going to come around and I'm going to point to you all. And we're going to hear the different narratives, okay? And we're going to make space for the ways that we might share areas around anger and the ways that we might differ, but knowing that there's a shared theme around anger. So you'll speak for yourself, whatever that is. Okay? So you'll come on one at a time, building that picture. Say what it is, so you all may want to put each other in relationship to each other as you build this picture. Okay? Got it? All right, let's do it. If you took a deep breath, that's always a good sign you want to get out there.
And say a line.
Yeah, add a line.
Okay, why can't you hear me?
Great. Hold that right there. Add on to it quickly.
Hey, I'm right fucking here.
Great.
Don't you dare.
Nice.
I have a reason to be angry.
Great.
No.
Great. When I point to you, you're going to say your line in whatever way feels right.
I have a reason to be angry.
Don't you dare.
Why can't you hear me?
I have a reason to be angry.
Why can't you hear me? Why can't you hear me?
I have a reason to be angry.
I am right fucking here.
Don't you dare.
No.
Don't you dare.
No.
Don't you dare.
No. I'm right fucking here.
Don't you dare.
I'm right fucking here.
I have a reason to be angry.
Yeah. Take a breath. Go for it.
I have a reason to be angry. I have a reason to be angry.
Why can't you hear me?
I have a reason to be angry.
I am right fucking here. I'm right fucking here.
Good. Take a breath, everyone. Shake that off. Shake that off. How was that, just being in anger for that moment?
I'm like tingling.
Yeah, tingling. That's a good sign. The body's feeling something.
Sweating.
Yeah.
You're sweating. Yeah. How was it for
I
you?
feel good, but I feel guilty that I feel good about it.
Yeah, okay. We got 16 weeks to work on it. It's good. What's another one that we want to look at?
Too much, not enough?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Cool. Head over here and we're going to build up one at a time. Too much, not enough. Too much, not enough.
I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Great, add on.
Push, pull, push, pull.
Great.
This is all you're getting.
I would like to be very loud.
Hi, never mind.
Great. You ready? Here we go.
Hi, never mind.
I would like to be very loud.
Hi, never mind.
I would like to be very loud.
I'm sorry, but I'm not.
I would like to be very loud.
I'm sorry, but I'm not.
This is all you're getting.
Push, pull, push, pull.
This is all you're getting.
Push, pull,
This is all you're getting.
push, pull.
This is all you're
Push,
getting.
pull, push, pull.
I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Hi, never mind.
I'm sorry, but I'm not. 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 I'm sorry, but I'm not.
I would like to be very loud.
This is all you're getting.
I'm sorry, but I'm not.
This is all you're getting.
I'm sorry, but I'm not.
Good, take a breath. Let that go. How's that one landing in your body?
Too real.
Yeah.
I know, this drama therapy can get real sometimes.
That one's heavy. Tingling.
So we're gonna do just one more before we move into our closing exercise for tonight. And I wanna remind you all that we have a lot of weeks coming ahead. So we touched on some tough realities of eating disorder recovery, right? We talked about family trauma, relational trauma, racial trauma, right? Body size trauma, right? We talked about the hurt and the pain. So these are big topics, and we have time to explore these together. But for now, what's one more theme that this group is feeling pulled towards exploring for tonight that we might want to build a performance around?
Doing what others want me to do.
Doing what others want me to do.
Like people pleasing?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Yeah, like people pleasing, conforming, doing what others want me to do. Great.
What society wants us to
What
do.
society expects or wants you to do, what families expect or want you to do. Great. People pleasing and expectation. All right, this will be our final one for today. Same thing, and you can do a repeating movement if you want, or you can hold a movement, whatever feels right. Trust your body.
How can I help? How can I help?
Good, hold.
If you say I don't have an eating disorder, then I don't.
Great, add on.
I'm trying.
Great, add on.
I feel like it's just never enough.
I'm doing the best I can.
Great, here we go.
How can I help?
If you say I don't have an eating disorder, then I don't.
How can I help?
I'm trying.
How can I help?
I'm trying.
How can I help?
I'm trying.
Doing the best I can.
I feel like it's just never enough.
I'm trying.
I'm doing the best I can.
I feel like it's just not enough. I feel like it's just never enough.
I'm doing the best I can.
I'm trying.
If you say I don't have an eating disorder, then I don't.
I'm trying.
How can I help?
If you say I don't have an eating disorder, then I don't.
I'm trying.
I'm doing the best I can.
I feel like it's just never enough. I feel like it's just never enough. I feel like it's just never enough.
Good, Everybody take a big breath. Shake that off. Let it go. So we're going to move into our final closing exercise, and we're going to de-roll and let go of some of that stuff and talk about the homework that we're going to bring next week. Nice work, everyone.
My name's Nisha Sichnani. I'm the program director for the program in drama therapy here at NYU.
I'm Maria Hodermarska. I'm clinical assistant professor of drama therapy here at NYU.
I'm Maya Wilder.
I'm Francesca Janello.
Annie Pardo.
I'm Courtney Dowdell.
Danny Bryant.
I'm Laura Wood.
I'm June Dan, and a student of drama therapy here, and a discussant today.
I am Callum Fideli. I am also a drama therapy student and a discussant.
Thank you so much. Callum, we're going to start with you with an observation, a reflection, or a question.
Sure. Well, I also just want to reiterate how beautiful that was. So thank you so much. I'm always like surprised and reminded of like what a gift theater is every single time I view something. The care in which you approach these individual stories was very, very clear and evident, and beautiful to watch. I also want to say there was a moment during your monologue, actually, in the recovery chair where it really hit me, the universality of like the recovery monologue, and like I thought to myself, wow, I'm in recovery of shame. Like that is my recovery, and so I just wanted to offer that. And my question is, thinking about this audience and the delicate, subjects that everyone's bringing to the table, and they're all personal stories. What is the discussion around prepping the group members on that experience, not only on the experience of being witnessed, but then also having people comment on the experience and on the performance itself?
So I can speak to one element of the process, and just so people know, these, of course, are all of my colleagues, and everyone up here has either collaborated on the CoActive Therapeutic Theater model with me or is going to be in an upcoming production collaborating in some way, or works within the eating disorder community. And when we work with clients, and it's different depending on the population, but one thing that the CoActive Therapeutic Theater model has built in it is in the performance, the cast comes up with a coactive element that they then do with the audience. So we really talk about this idea that we get rid of the talkback, so people don't become voyeuristic into somebody else's recovery, but instead we ask the audience to look at some vulnerable aspect of themselves. And what you said is often what we hear, which is that people will come and they'll see a recovery play about eating disorders or addictions or aphasia, and they'll say, I didn't know anything about eating disorder recovery or aphasia, but everybody is recovering from something and connecting deeply within those themes. So to sort of succinctly answer the question, we build in an element where the actors get to do something with the audience, so we level the power dynamics between audience and actors. And as a part of the process, we're talking each week about coming back to this core idea of what do we want the audience to know. And so I think that also offers the actors in the process the distance to be able to say, these are the things that we want the audience to know, and this is what we don't want the audience to know. It's also not autobiographical therapeutic theater. So the final production, while we were really working with some autobiographical material that was woven into the construct of role, the final product will focus on creating a play around a theme, not around individual stories. And that's really important to this process. So people are also able to use the distance of role to be able to explore the theme without having to out their individual stories. Because for everyone, that is not necessarily their pathway to recovery. Does anybody want to add anything to that?
Just that when we did this process with persons in aphasia recovery, just seeing the deep value that it has for the cast members to be able to create the themes, to give as much input or as little as they want, and then to have the directors take all of that into consideration and write a script that then comes back to the actors and what did we get right, what did we not get right. Just that collaboration, I think is it's just really important to the recovery process.
And that the actors then, when they get the skeleton script, are required to flesh it out to make it their own. So everybody has ownership in the process. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. June?
I just want to say thank you first. It's really a beautiful performance, and I think it's my first time seeing this on stage, actually. I was having the same question, like if this is a process, like a real process, like in therapy, it seems like, but it's acting, right? And I would like to say what Maria said at the beginning, this is a dream come true. Like when I apply to the program, I want to see this, like bring all those topics and those themes onto the stage. But I also notice that there's like some other races are not presented here. I just want to bring this in on the table. And as an audience, I want to say I feel very real, like all the emotions. At the beginning, I was really nervous too. But at the end, I was more able to fully engage in the performance, like feel like the anger too and all the emotions. Yes, that's all.
Thank you, June. Would anyone like to comment on that? You've raised so many really key issues here. Well, I'll start with the last one around the journey that the audience goes through as they witness a piece of theater, which is one of the oldest insights that we have about the healing potential of theater, isn't it? If we think back to Aristotle's understanding of what's happening when we watch a tragedy unfold on stage. What emotions are we able to get filled up with and then release? And then there's this other piece around representation and whose stories are told and whose stories are missing, and how much weight, how much any one theater piece or any one story holds, and how much it cannot hold. What are the limits of representation on stage? And of course, this would be a closed process, and in this room here, it's an open one. But of course, you're leading to performance where this question is absolutely central. Would anyone like to speak to that?
I also think it parallels the field of eating disorder treatment, right? And eating disorders as, there's not much training to become an eating disorder therapist, right? It's sometimes like a PowerPoint in one class.
Like that's what's problematic.
Right, so even the representation of the population as well, and what we see the stories in the Lifetime movies about what eating disorders are, I think is those parallel, right? Representation and understanding, as Maya played so beautifully, and I would love for you to speak to it as well, of what's underrepresented.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like representation was the reason why I said yes. I mean, like, I appreciated you asking, but like in my gut reaction was like, there are so many voices that are not being heard. I was like, yes. And then when I started digging around even more and like looking at the numbers and just seeing how people of color are affected and how we're never represented, that was really important to me.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it's important for everyone to know we had long discussions about the representation in this process. So to remind everybody up here is, a drama therapist and, working as a clinician or working with eating disorders or recovery populations. And we talked a long time about the different archetypes of eating disorder recovery that we wanted to represent, with our best intention of trying to bring as many voices in as we could in 45 minutes of a presentation. And so I think what we also talked a lot about is how much to directly speak to that and how much not to, and to find that balance of both trusting that the audience would be able to see some of the less represented narratives that happen in eating disorder treatment. So for people who might not know, binge eating disorder was not in the DSM until the most recent publication of the DSM-5. So when I first started in eating disorder treatment, they just said for people who were binge eaters, you're an overeater. And there was no support that was happening. So, one discussion that we had was making sure that we were representing binge eating disorders and also large or fat bodies, which is another thing that in the eating disorder community people don't want to talk about, right? The thin body is what gets idealized. Up until the last 4 years, we're finally starting to talk about in the eating disorder world the impact of racial trauma on eating disorders and eating disorder recovery and accessibility to treatment. So that was a really important archetype that we wanted to try to represent. Then we also wanted to talk about that many times people think an eating disorder is about being thin, or it's just a white girl's problem. And so we also really tried to speak to things like family trauma, unresolved childhood trauma, other dynamics that play into the complexities of an eating disorder. An eating disorder is a protective function. It is not just one thing, and it is different for every person. So, I just wanted to say this whole cast was extremely passionate about this piece. And then also we talked a lot about how much do we model for the audience and how much do we do what would really be true at this point in the process. So for me as a white clinician, we talked a lot as a group about me watching out for my own parts that wanted to be the good white clinician in the group, right? To do all of the right things in each moment, knowing that more authentically that unfolds as I get to know the cast and build relationships with them in the real world. So does anyone want to add? Because we talked about this at length as a group.
And also thinking about, right, the next sort of stigma, right, is also fat people don't only have binge eating disorder, right?
Yes.
It's very nuanced and layered and weight stigma and fat phobia and how it really impacts all aspects of the work.
It's very clear that there was a lot of thought that went into this. I mean, it was so rich and so layered. Do you mind if we open this up to the audience? Was there a comment that I jumped over? Okay. So I'm going to ask the same question of you, which is there a story that is awoken in you, a reflection, an observation, or a question that you have for this group here? When you're building the tableaus, how do you maintain that balance between specificity and the personal experience of recovery and eating disorders and universality?
Yeah. Do you want to speak to it first? Yeah.
I just think that's a really interesting question to think about. So I'll share, my first encounter with the CoATT model was a few years ago, and it was actually as a participant. So I was in Unmasked a few years ago, and that production, we didn't say the word eating disorder at all. It was entirely in metaphor. It was a story about a sorority house, and so much more, but to put it very simply. So in that sense, it did become somewhat universal, and we actually did ask the audience to bring in their own identifications. Laura was talking about our version, the sort of inverted talkback that we did. And it invited that relational aspect, I felt like. And the fact that I think it, in its own way, it was specific to eating disorders because it came from us and because it came from that story. And ultimately, telling it through metaphor, I can speak to my experience, made it very rich for me. And obviously I continued, although I was, portraying a character today, love to work in that way. And so, it was our story, so it was about eating disorders, and we acknowledge sort of the potential for identification, invite it. I feel like we did.
Yeah, and I think that is part of the recovery process, is to be able to hold the both and, right? So and we see this a lot of time in higher levels of care, people in treatment will often say I don't want anybody in the group to relate to me because this is mine. And that's that protected piece in a developmental phase. And I think that as somebody works through recovery, An eating disorder is also a attachment disorder. It's a relational disorder. And so your eating disorder often becomes your best friend, the mother you never had, the father, whatever that relationship is. And so I often see when clients who are in recovery begin to be able to hold that this is both mine and it is deeply unique to me and what I am putting forward. And I can hold that and acknowledge that. And I know that the people in my cast can as well. And I can make space to share that and find a way to reconnect with community, which is one of the core principles of trauma healing, is reconnection to community. Being able to hold that both end is like such a valuable and crucial place. And Annie, you really articulated it best. It's both we as a cast deeply know this is ours and about our story, and how powerful when we can bring people into being able to connect. So it holds what role theory really teaches us best, which is the capacity to hold paradox. This is both all completely mine, and it's also ours.
What a wonderful reflection, that parallel process of I am not enough but enough, that's felt perhaps on the part of the therapist as well as participants and clients.
Yeah. I often sculpt it like this when I first hear clients, and everybody goes, oh yeah. It's like, too much, not enough. Like, stay away, come close. It's like this is the sculpt of an eating disorder. And I think that we're up here with a lot of gifted clinicians, so I'd love to hear from you all. I have some thoughts about how we hold that in the space, because I think it's a crucial piece.
Yeah, I think, in working with clients with eating disorders, it's also about really cultivating that voice of compassion. So letting go of that inner critic or that inner voice that is saying, I'm too much or I'm not enough, but how about cultivating this compassionate voice that is, I am who I am, and I am made of all these different roles, and how can I be in relationship to those roles and to my community and to other people and to myself, and holding all of that, and like sort of holding the dialectic of both, but offering this compassion to yourself in that moment.
I'll also add really the magic of being drama therapists, right? And our ability to take up space and be connected in our body in the way that folks with eating disorders are so disconnected from the body that how we support them is as a model for how to take up space in the room. Even that, without articulating it, is helping them find that balance.
And I just want to add, that's the goal of the theory, is the capacity to tolerate. That's what we're building, is the capacity to tolerate the discomfort, not to resolve the problem.
So who is the guide for the one who is too much and not enough?
For those who don't know, this is Robert Landy, who articulated role theory and role method, and it's wonderful to have you here.
So I stepped away from drama therapy and role theory and method. I've been weeding myself away from the work for the last couple of years. I'm not successful completely, but I'm trying. And given where I'm at in my process of separating out from my, how shall I say, from my addiction to this work, I discovered tonight how powerful it is to have the distance and to be present for this extraordinary work. So I just want to say a couple of things. One is that, Maria, you never cease to amaze me with your ability to take an idea that we have shared for so long and make it completely fresh as if I'm hearing it for the first time. So I'm blown away by what you said. Laura, you're a revelation, and the work that you do, I don't see it as coming from, I see it as very, very separate from myself. And as I watch you work, I certainly can see little glimpses of the person that I was, or I am, or I could be. So that's what I wanted to say to you. You guys that work, those of you that I know and those of you that I don't, it was an honor for me to be in your presence and to just witness what you did tonight. It was beautiful work. And the final thing I want to say is this. For some reason that I really don't understand to this day, I learned about role theory and drama therapy through working with eating disordered people in a very, very deep level for many, many, many years. And I don't know why people came to me or why I didn't choose the population. And then one day I realized somebody who I was working with for many, many, many years was going through a difficult relationship issue. And her partner came to me and was very angry and said to me, "Don't you realize that eating disorder isn't about one thing? It's about many things. There are many disorders in eating disorder. It's so many things, and you're just treating this eating disorder." I said, whoa, 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 whoa. But it was a very powerful moment that I had forgotten. That happened many, many, many years ago. But it has stuck with me, and as I was witnessing this today, I was thinking about that. But the thing I wanted to share with you is that unwittingly, I learned how to be a drama therapist through working with people who identified themselves with their eating disorder. And I saw my job as precisely what you did today, that is to give voice to the other side, the other side of eating disorder, which is the recovery, which is the counter role, which is, that's the ambivalence, right? The healthy part and the unhealthy part, and how do they live together? So I'm very honored to be here with you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. There's a kind of circle, coming full circle in this. So I think that is where we'll end for tonight with this discussion. Of course, all of you are welcome to come and continue the conversation here. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you.